I don't understand the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves have had one of the most roller coaster seasons in the NBA. Since the end of last season, they've traded away half of their team for Rudy Gobert. Cats missed like 50 games. They lost twice to the Pistons, and now they find themselves 7th in the Western Conference. It's safe to say a lot's happened. But despite their very average record, many key players are having career years, and they have one of the most talented rosters in the entire NBA. So let's break down why the Timberwolves are such a wild card team, and how the rest of the season will end up playing out for them. How's it going, my friend? I'm Alexander from Load Management Media, and let's talk about it. The Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns combo is one of the things that makes the Timberwolves such an unpredictable outlet. The two of them have worked at times this year, but overall it hasn't been the greatest. But the fact is that overall they're only 11-11 together this year, and they gave up so many picks and assets for Gobert, one of them being Walker Kessler, who's having a very similar season to Gobert. The start of the season especially did not look great for the combination of the two, and it really clogged up the paint for everybody else, especially for Anthony Edwards, who was having a real tough time with that. He wasn't able to get to any of his spots near the rim, and it was just a lot difficult for him to put points up on the board because you have two 7-footers clogging up the paint, not really knowing how to work with each other as of yet. But after Karl Anthony Towns went out with his injury, for a large chunk of the season they've played with one big, that being Gobert, and they've looked pretty decent since then. It's just much more open for guards to get into the paint with only one big there, and Gobert has played pretty well overall throughout the season, just with himself being in the paint, not having to share it with Cat. Gobert has played much better since the start of the season, and he's just taken that Timberwolves defense up another level. Last season they were the 13th defense in the league, and this season they're the 10th. And there's a considerable difference between being the 13th best and being a top 10 defense in the NBA. That Gobert addition has definitely taken them up just another level. The problem is that for the duo of Cat and Gobert to work at its peak efficiency, Cat needs to be on the three-point line, which is not where he's at his most dangerous. Although he's a proficient three-point shooter, when he gets into the paint and he's able to score from there and work inside out, that's where his game is a lot more dangerous. Although Cat playing on the outside and playing 4 out 1 in with Gobert on the inside might not be the best for Cat, it might be the best for the duo overall, and will probably prove to have the best results for them as a tandem. We'll see as they continue to gel and figure things out after Cat's got back from his injury. The second thing that makes the Minnesota Timberwolves such an unpredictable proposition is their three-point shooting, which at times can be extremely streaky. This season, they're about pretty much dead average in terms of three-point shooting, 15th in the league at a percentage of 36.2. And this is all while missing arguably their best three-point shooter in Karl Anthony Towns almost the entire year. The issue for the Wolves here is that they go on stretches when they shoot the ball extremely well, and then there's times where they can't hit shots at all. And this is due to the fact that a lot of their major key players are very inconsistent when it comes to shooting the three ball. It's not the fact that they're average, it's the fact that that average comes from being all over the place throughout the period of the season. And it's even worse when your key players are your most streaky shooters. Anthony Edwards, although his three-pointer has gotten a lot better throughout the years, and this season it's at its highest percentage, he still is a streaky three-point shooter and can take some really bad shots that affect his percentage. Other guys like Jalen Noel, who's a key piece off the bench, he's not an efficient three-point shooter, but he shoots a lot of them. And then Mike Conley as well. And even Naz Reid off the bench, he can hit threes, but it's not really consistent. He might go one game hitting 3, and then the next game he'll go 0 of 4. And I love Naz. Naz is going to be really good in the future. It's just his three-point shooting is a little bit inconsistent right now. But on the positive side for the Wolves, this could be a real strength for them in the playoffs. If they can be consistent from 3 and just get hot at the right time, which is the playoffs for them, or the play-in if they have to get through that avenue, then it's going to be a massive strength for them moving forward because they have a lot of guys who can get hot really fast. The biggest thing, in my opinion, that makes the Timberwolves such a wild card team coming into the playoffs or the play-in is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has really taken his game to another level this year, and the Timberwolves will really go as far as Anthony Edwards can take them. He has that kind of talent where he really can just carry a team. He's just such a superstar player, in my opinion. He can really just change a series, change a game just like that. He's that special. He really has the ability to explode on any given night, and we've seen that many times this year, and we saw that he could do it in the playoffs last year versus Memphis. He's also taken his defense up to another level this year. He's arguably an all-defensive caliber player and a two-way player that can affect the game on both sides of the ball, which a lot of guys that are top scorers in the league and are young like Anthony Edwards can't say. Although Anthony Edwards is still having a great season, as I mentioned before, he can get a little bit streaky with his three-point shooting and his jump shooting, but it has gotten considerably better. And I think how far Anthony Edwards can carry the Wolves and how far they can go really comes down to whether Anthony Edwards makes the right decisions in crunch time. We saw last year in the playoffs that he took some ill-advised shots and made some ill-advised decisions versus Memphis, especially in Game 5 going after the steal. But if he can really just refine his shot selection in these key moments, as we've seen him do for a good chunk of the year this year, the Timberwolves are going to be a super dangerous team to face when it comes to the playoffs, the play-in, or any time in the future. At currently the 7th seed right now, it looks like the Wolves will make the playoffs. And they could be a extremely tough first round matchup for a team like the Grizzlies. As a Grizzlies fan, I don't want to see the Timberwolves again, or even the Kings, and I know Kings fans probably don't want to see the Wolves either. The Wolves have played really well against the Kings this year. They're one of the most talented teams in the league, and they're fearless. They can take on anybody. But there's plenty of things that are unpredictable with the Wolves, as I mentioned before, that could really withhold them from taking that next level to being one of the top teams at the Western Conference. Either way, I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves gave somebody a real scare in the first round, or even made it to the second round, or for goodness sakes, even if they lost in the play-in, it really could go any way. But the Wolves are a team to keep your eye out on for sure, and I'm looking forward to see them succeed in the future, even if things don't end up going right for them this season. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see some more consistent content where we cover all kinds of players, teams, and situations throughout the NBA season, then this is the place for you. I'll be putting out at least one fresh piece of NBA content a week, so if that interests you, consider hitting a like and a sub. And as always, stay rested. See you in the next one.